Tony, I be hoping you be. Hold on. Tony, I be hoping you got something positive to say about me. You only say negative stuff about me. And I'm like, I ain't do nothing to you.
No, don't think that.
I ain't seen nothing positive that you ever say.
He's got the fewest reps in camp, and he's got a sore arm. Why? Well, people say he throws a lot before practice and after practice. Well, how counterproductive is that?
I'm sure there's a method to the madness.
After Shedeur Sanders' explosive performance, one person wasn't about to get a pass: Tony GROSSI. Known for his harsh criticism, GROSSI had never said a word of praise about Shedeur. This time, Shedeur wasn't holding back. With fire in his eyes, he confronted Tony. "Now, Tony, you got something positive to say about me?" He continued, "You always talk negative about me when I ain't done nothing to you. Why's that?" The tension was palpable. Was Tony GROSSI caught off guard by Shedeur's fiery words? Did he feel the aggression? Could this moment change their dynamic moving forward? Shedeur Sanders' bold questions left Tony GROSSI stunned. The veteran writer, visibly pissed, couldn't hide his frustration. It was clear that the confrontation had struck a nerve, but honestly, he had it coming. Shedeur had every right to stand up for himself after years of unfair criticism. Just when the tension seemed ready to boil over, Sanders diffused the situation with a laugh, revealing it was all a setup. A moment of tension quickly turned into a playful tease, but underneath it all, Shedeur knew the truth. Tony GROSSI had been unfair, and if the criticism stung, he better start taking it. Tony GROSSI had always been quick to throw shade, and his latest jab at Shedeur Sanders was no different. When Shedeur mentioned his arm soreness, GROSSI didn't hold back. On live television, he mocked Sanders, claiming that he somehow managed to get sore after fewer reps than any other quarterback on the roster. It was a bold and dismissive move by GROSSI, undermining Sanders' dedication and toughness. The criticism was harsh, and it added fuel to the fire that had been burning between them. But in the face of such negativity, Shedeur stood his ground, knowing that Tony's words weren't going to define him.
It was counterproductive because he's got a sore arm.
Okay, so you're using that as a negative against the kid?
I don't understand.
Jesus, God, would you give him a chance?
Well,
My God,
here's the
because his
thing.
arm's sore?
Yeah.
What, that's a negative? That the kid's got a sore arm?
Yes!
Because he's working too hard?
Shedeur Sanders responded to Tony GROSSI and all his critics in the most powerful way possible by dominating on the field. With 2 touchdowns, immaculate passing, and impressive rushing yards, Shedeur put his haters to rest, proving he could back up every ounce of his talent. But as much as he silenced the doubters, we all know that some, like Tony GROSSI, will never be satisfied. They'll continue to spread their negative agenda, and just as expected, one of them has already started again: Cam Newton. The former quarterback, too, has joined the chorus, casting his own doubts on Shedeur's performance. It seems this battle is far from over. Cam Newton, never one to hold back, quickly dismissed Shedeur Sanders' immaculate passes in the game. He claimed that the true measure of a quarterback isn't just about the passes, but what you have from the neck up. According to Cam, it's all about scanning the defense, understanding the pressures, and making the right decisions under fire. He pointed out that while Shedeur's physical skills were undeniable, it's the mental game, the ability to read defenders, anticipate movements, and stay composed that would truly define his success.
He was a 5th-round pick. Put your head down and grind. The game is not just about completing the pass. The game is more focused on the neck up. Hey, what's my side adjust? Hey, who am I hot off of? What's my signal right here? What coverage are they in? Those are the things that if I'm Shedeur, I'm worried about. I ain't worried about what the popular pick.
Like seriously, Cam Newton is saying this? It's hard to believe, especially when you take a closer look at the game. Shedeur Sanders wasn't just slinging passes, he was reading defenses, making split-second decisions, and moving the ball downfield with surgical precision. Legendary coach Herm Edwards, always the seasoned strategist, had the perfect counter to Cam Newton's critique. Edwards broke down Shedeur Sanders' touchdown with the precision of someone who's seen it all. He praised the split-second read Sanders made, recognizing the small opening after Shedeur skillfully dodged the defense. Most quarterbacks would have hesitated, unsure if the window was big enough. But not Shedeur. The moment he saw that sliver of opportunity, he threaded the needle with pinpoint accuracy. Edwards, clearly impressed, made one thing crystal clear. That's the kind of play you don't often see from a rookie. It was a veteran's move, showcasing Shedeur's poise and football IQ far beyond his years. But deep down, we all know that Cam Newton is just playing the same role as Tony Grossi when it comes to Shedeur Sanders. He's the one who never gives credit for Shedeur's electrifying performances and constantly tries to spread negativity about his character. At one point, during the draft, Cam even suggested that Shedeur had a tendency to shy away from real competition and challenge. He implied that Shedeur's confidence sometimes bordered on self-absorption, as if he truly believed no one else in the draft class was on his level. It was a subtle jab, and like Grossi, it seemed more about personal critique than football analysis.
The thing about Shedeur, I am the guy that's been pushing him to the greatness. I want to see Shedeur picked early. I want to see Shedeur picked as the first quarterback taken off the board. But Shedeur also does not want to be challenged. I said certain things that I'm just keeping it a buck and just say how I feel. That doesn't negate how I feel about him, his brother, his other brother, his sister, and his father.
The reason I called Cam Newton the Tony Grossi in this situation is because, much like Grossi, Newton has been relentlessly pushing the idea that Shedeur Sanders isn't ready for the first team right away. Grossi's narrative has been that Shedeur needs at least 4 years to fully develop into a starter. He's made it clear time and again that Dillon Gabriel, in his eyes, is the more polished quarterback, one who can step in and perform at a high level much sooner than Shedeur ever could. Grossi insisted that Shedeur needed significant time to catch up, while Gabriel was the immediate, ready-to-go option. Tony Grossi has always run a clear agenda against Shedeur Sanders, but what's even more telling is his complete silence when it comes to Jimmy Haslam. When Haslam tried to brush Shedeur off, claiming there was no reason why the Browns should be seen as the bad guys, Grossi said nothing. He didn't speak up when Shedeur was being dismissed, even though it was clear the young quarterback was being undervalued. Haslam even went as far as to say the Browns drafted Shedeur because they believed he was better than a fifth-round pick, yet Grossi remained quiet.
Why? Well, the GM and the owner both said because value. He was worth more than a fifth-round pick. So I don't know why the Browns are like the bad guys in what's going on here.
Right.
That they mistreated him. They treated him better than 31 other teams.
Despite all the criticism Tony Grossi aimed at Shedeur Sanders, he couldn't seem to stop praising Dillon Gabriel. Grossi went as far as to declare that the Browns didn't even need Shedeur in the mix, claiming that by drafting him, they had only complicated their situation. He couldn't grasp why people were saying Shedeur was being treated unfairly, refusing to acknowledge any mistreatment. Instead, he insisted that the Browns made a logical decision based on their own evaluation. His dismissive attitude toward Shedeur's challenges, combined with his constant support for Dillon Gabriel, only added fuel to the fire of the ongoing debate. The best thing about time is that it never stops. The ones who were trying to pull Shedeur down are now standing in the noose, while Shedeur is on the run, proving everyone wrong. The very critics who doubted him are now left to watch as he rises to new heights. As Dan Reynolds said in Thunder,
"Now I'm smiling from the stage while you were clapping in the nosebleed."
the confrontation between Shedeur Sanders and Tony Grossi was more than just a heated moment. It was a defining clash of narratives. For years, Grossi had been quick to dismiss Shedeur, focusing on his perceived flaws and shortcomings. But in that exchange, Shedeur stood his ground, asking the tough questions and calling out the bias he had faced. It wasn't just about the words he spoke, but the performance that followed. On the field, Shedeur responded with 2 touchdowns, immaculate passing, and impressive rushing yards, silencing the critics and showing that his talent could not be undermined. Yet, despite the evidence of his abilities, critics like GROSSI and even Cam Newton continue to question his readiness, undermining his confidence and downplaying his success. But time has a way of revealing truth, and Shedeur has continued to rise above it all. With each passing game, he proves his worth, proving that the critics were wrong. Shedeur's journey has been one of perseverance and grit, and it's clear that his confidence is backed by skill, intelligence, and determination. As his career unfolds, the doubters will fade into the background, while Shedeur's legacy will be built on the very moments that they tried to dismiss. What do you think? Was Shedeur Sanders justified in confronting Tony GROSSI after years of criticism? Can critics like GROSSI and Cam Newton ever truly recognize his growth? Or are they too stuck in their biases? How many more performances like this does Shedeur need to prove he belongs? Do you think time will silence his critics? Or will they always find a way to cast doubt on him? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We want to know what you think.